Taking a break from the standard content today, I thought I'd take you through some of my favourite vehicles that I like playing on an occasional basis. Some of these vehicles I haven't played in a couple of years, I only touched them briefly today, but I remember them distinctly being my favourites back in the day. Now, speaking of a vehicle that I enjoy playing a lot, number one on the list is the Centurion 5/1, as you see directly right here. Obviously, because it's Australian, I have to include it on the list, but it's possibly the best Battle Pass vehicle that's ever come out of War Thunder. And for casual grinding, this thing does it all. It's got a decent amount of armour, it's got longer ranges, it's got a little bit of, extra bits and pieces on it. It's got an IR lamp and a machine gun. And generally well-rounded, the Centurions are probably some of the best vehicles in War Thunder. And I just can't get enough of this machine. It's helping me grind out my British tech tree. I probably wouldn't be up into rank 5 if it hadn't been for this particular machine. And yeah, I do have a fond attachment to it because it is Australian, but unfortunately all Australian vehicles are either squadron vehicles, premiums, or event vehicles. So maybe that needs to change next year, Galsian. I'll probably do another list later down the line, but for now, this is the Japanese vehicle of which I really enjoy. This is the Type 75 self-propelled howitzer, or SPH for short, or SPG, I can't remember. Anyway, essentially it's got this massive shell, and it does things like this. You just lob shells at the enemy and things happen. It's good fun, it really is. It's mobile, it's quick, it's got a machine gun on top. It is lightly armoured, but what do you expect? And when you're, top tier, or you're looking at other vehicles, just sort of aim up, whiff a shell that direction and get a couple of kills. What's there more to say? It is 6.3, but you just go off and just kill a bunch of things because it's just fun to do. And yeah, whenever you get those encounters with people trying to kill you back, you just kill them with high explosive. Now the next one on the list comes out of one of the rarest vehicles, probably in the top 10 list for the rarest aircraft in War Thunder. You know, you think stuff like the developer lag, the beta TU2, maybe the I'm trying to remember the bloody name of the thing. The Finnish P-36 that's in the German tech tree, for example. You know, stuff like that, that is really what this aircraft is. And if you don't know what it is, it's the Ju-388. Not 288, 388. You see where that gun reticle is? That is where I have to aim up to in order to try and get hits on this Spitfire. I'm completely flopping that and completely failing. It is a very difficult aircraft to fly. It has downwards facing 30mm guns. It does have the same rear armament as a regular 288. And I'm just trying desperately to get shots on this Spitfire. I will get him eventually. But it has a massive radar and it has Schrager music on the top, which I never use for this machine. It's quite maneuverable, and it does get an attacker spawn, but you basically never see these, as this was one of the most unpopular rewards to come out of one of the Operation Engineer events, I believe, back in the day. This thing is so rare that you basically never see them, and I think I've only ever seen maybe 1 or 2 of them ever in my playtime, which is quite an interesting thing. Unless there's probably maybe 75 to maybe 100 of these in-player accounts, there might be something like 1,000 of them sitting around, but still, I don't ever see them in matches, and I tend to contribute to the kill-death ratio of this machine by dying in it quite frequently. But it's still a good machine, and I can't take it for what it is, because it's still, when you go head-on with somebody, you get actions like this. So, prepare the night belts and the armor piercing. Goodbye, Kai 96. That's all that this machine is all about. Alright, on to the next one. This one is the P-59A. In the game files, there is a naval version of this particular aircraft. I'm still wondering when that is coming to game. But essentially, this is a 5.3 jet-propelled aircraft. It turns like a Zero, has armament of a P-39, does really well on a turn, doesn't necessarily do well at speed, but it can basically face anything and out-climb it, out-turn it. Just do anything it really wants except for pure acceleration and top speed. It is a little bit fragile, and the rudder does get a little bit heavy, but it's probably one of the most broken early, well, jet-propelled aircraft that War Thunder has to offer. It's no Su-9 or Su-11, but for what it is, you get a really nice 37mm cannon, and things go pop. And last but not least is another event vehicle. Surprise, surprise. There's only been one tech tree vehicle in this whole entire video. I know, I like playing unique vehicles, not because they're good, but because they tend to be more exciting than regular Tech 3 stuff. That'll probably change. I'll probably make another list in about a month's time. But another 5 aircraft Ash likes. Or tanks, or whatever. Essentially, this is the 262A. It was an event 262. It's only got 2 30mm guns. And a beautiful livery here. I've made many a video on this particular machine. It is probably one of my most prized possessions. And this is the first time I've flown one in probably about a year and a half outside of ground forces, because this thing can carry 2 500-kilogram bombs, which is fantastic for knocking out a couple of tanks. Outside of that, I haven't played an air realistic since the 262 was meta, or since this thing was first introduced, at least a few years back. I play it probably once or twice a year, maybe at most. So there's been a couple of times I've taken this out this year, probably for live streams or to showcase rare vehicles. But this thing, when you're versing SU-9s, SU-11s, and you've got F-84s to deal with, can be a bit troublesome, despite the fact that there's poor P-51s on the enemy team and F-8Fs, and Zeros and things. You know, you're versing high-end props, but you're also in a tier where you basically outperform everything, so it's quite hard to use, but you do have the threat of premium vehicles, particularly when it comes to Russian overpowered things. It's not a complaint, the aircraft is still good, however, getting it into a usable state is another thing altogether. It's quite a troublesome vehicle to use, considering it is quite heavy, and does take a little bit of getting used to when it comes to the velocity of the guns, but otherwise, a perfectly lovely aircraft that I occasionally play. So yeah, that is my favourite aircraft, or favourite vehicles, or whatever you want to call it. At least my top 5 for now. There'll probably be more air vehicles to add. There's over 2,000 vehicles, so having distinct favourites is quite a hard choice. It was bad enough coming up with a top 10 hated list, let alone what do I like. Anyway, let me know in the comments down below, what are your favourite vehicles? What are your 5 most favourite vehicles that you like going to? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any ideas for video content, let me know in the comments as well, because I'm running out of ideas here. You know, the whole $70 premium thing threw me a bit of off course. We were going to do several topical videos, but alas, that is what it is. And I was going to do a 10-year comparison of War Thunder's existence into, well, the future, but, you know, that never really held up. And I was going to do a video with 10 years of War Thunder's history and go through each year and what happened. Anyway, doesn't matter. Well, thanks to everyone who's joined as a member. Thank you to the YouTube members, and thank you to everyone who has supported the channel on Twitch and who comes to join my live streams. Also, if you haven't, follow me on Twitter. If you like Twitter, that's fine. And come join the Discord too, because we had fantastic fun on yesterday's live stream where we used self-propelled guns against each other and stuff. It's good fun. Alright. You've been updated. Oh yeah, buy my decal. Yeah, okay, that's enough housekeeping. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.